Yeah, just saying, guys, please watch the movie before you watch this review, because there's a ton of spoilers. Welcome to the review that everybody has been waiting for. And I think you might know what that is. Today, we're here to review Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie is my most anticipated movie of the year. Top tier up there. And I was super excited for this one. After the cast list came out with Jamie Foxx's Electro coming back, brand new, Alfred Molina coming in, and more, I was so hyped. And honestly, Doctor Strange now being in it, and him having a movie called The Multiverse of Madness, there was a lot riding on this movie. And then we get the first trailer, and it breaks every record possible. Now, it gets over 360 million views in the first 24 hours, which beat Endgame's record. So that's crazy. And then the second trailer wasn't that great, but the fan service, all that, everyone loved these two teasers that we got. And you know what made people like this so much? Is because of the return of villains. Now, we got Green Goblin in the first and second trailer. We have Sandman coming back, Electro's first look. We also have a Lizard. We also have Doc Ock more shots now. It gets super cool. And I really wanted to see what these villains were going to do. And the movie pretty much showed what they could do. And even amped it up a little bit. And that's why I loved it, their villains and all that so much. But the main thing is the rumors of Tobey and Andrew Maguire coming back as Spider-Man. And honestly, I didn't think it was going to happen. And I really didn't expect Marvel to pull this off because of how quiet these two have been from Marvel and all that. And honestly, like, they kind of gave it away a little bit. They were hinting at it a little bit, but in the end, they're in the movie. Like, honestly, like, I know a lot of fans were like, oh my gosh, what a shock. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, they're in the movie. Good for you, Marvel. You pulled it off. But that's what I would say if I were, like, a typical, just chill out Marvel fan. For me, Tobey and Andrew Maguire is the best part of the whole movie. It is crazy to see these two on the screen with Tom Holland. And amazing, and it's so good. And this movie is one of the greatest movies of all time. Here is my full-length review. This is going to be a long video. Spider-Man No Way Home is the top movie of the year for me. And I'm saying that now. Lots of spoilers in this video. It is a spoiler review. And I will be going through this whole movie and putting out every little detail that I spotted out. And I got my 9-page little thingy up, and it's actually pretty cool. So we open up right as Far From Home left off. You all know it's like J. Jonah Jameson out Spider-Man on the Daily Bugle. It's cool to say J. Jonah back, so that's cool. But yeah, so everybody knows that he's Spider-Man. So him and MJ run to Peter's apartment where we see Happy and May break up. It's really weird and awkward. And then everyone is like crowding Peter's apartment and all that. So they eventually find out by turning on the TV that Peter has been outed by everyone. Now, it's pretty crazy to see Peter like this, and he's all frantic and doesn't know what to do. And he just runs to people for answers throughout this movie, and he just doesn't get them, and except for when the ending comes. But we'll get to that later. Yeah. So he gets warranted by the Department of Damage Control, which showed up in Homecoming, so that's cool. But they say they talk to everyone, all that. And pretty much what happens is they don't arrest him or anything. But Matt Murdock shows up as Daredevil. Well, we don't know if he's the Netflix Daredevil or not. But, dude, seeing him in the movie is just bang, crazy. And there was a leaked set photo a while back, and it had him, Happy. It's the same shot, and nobody knew really what it was. And then now it's confirmed, so that's really cool. And seeing him in it and just having a 2-minute conversation with them is pretty sick. And then he was blind and all that, but, like, he caught a brick, like, just flying right at Peter, just like that, and it's, like, really funny. And it's super cool to see him in the MC now, if it is the Netflix one, so that could open up possibilities. But lots of multiverse in the MCU now. I really liked how Peter's pointed out to be kind of irresponsible in this movie, and he kind of is. He literally acts in a way that he wants everything for himself. But then, once we get into the movie, he changes, and I like that about his development in this movie. And this movie feels like a true Spider-Man movie. Peter finally like Tom Holland, he feels like a true Spider-Man. That's why I really like this development through these 3 movies. But now we see Peter applying for college, and he goes back to high school. We see the 3 guys come back: Coach Wilson, Mr. Dell, Mr. The other guy, Mr. Harrington, and we get a little cameo from them, and I like that. And that they have like a "We Build Heroes" at Midtown High. It's pretty funny. But they apply for college at MIT. None of them get in because of the circumstances under Peter Parker and all that. So Peter goes to Doctor Strange for help to reverse the spell, and he agrees to it. Surprisingly, he's a weird guy to talk to, but he says yes to it, and they do the spell, and Peter keeps asking for more people to remember that he's Spider-Man, for everyone forgets, and the whole multiverse opens up, and everybody that knows who Peter Parker Spider-Man is will come into the MCU, or the timeline or whatever, and hunt him down, or befriend him. We don't know. But what's crazy is that the MCU is kind of whack now, honestly. They kind of broke a lot of stuff now. And multiverse opens, and Strange contains the big spell into this box, and if you press the button, it all erases everyone's memory of Peter Parker. Now, Peter goes to find the head dean of MIT, which Flash is now in, and he meets her on a trafficked highway, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. It's kind of weird. He shows up as Spider-Man. He's like, "Hey, can you give these guys another chance?" Then you just hear the big claw and another claw. And then Doc Ock is in the movie, first appearance of the film, and it is insane. This whole bridge scene is pretty sick. The action, the thrills, they're all there, especially if you see it on a huge screen, which I got to. It was really cool. Now, Alfred Molina came back, and so did all the other like OG actors and villains and all that. Willem Dafoe came back, but only if he could do the action and stunts, so that's really cool. And Jamie Foxx and all them, they come back too. But the cool thing is about this is that the nanotech that was mentioned in Spider-Man 2 comes back, and it's Peter's nanotech, and it goes on to Doc Ock, and Peter now controls the arms. So it's actually pretty cool. And he brings them to this like underground area where Doctor Strange will now keep the villains. So Peter goes on a hunt to go find the other villains. Now, this first act is just kind of I guess. Like, it's interesting enough, sets up the premise, has some good moments. But if you said to me, "Hey, Peter Parker is going to hunt down a bunch of villains like Scooby-Doo style or Pokemon," I'm like, that's not a Spider-Man movie that I know. So it's very interesting and kind of off-putting to see Peter go track all these villains down, to be honest. Anyway, he meets up with Electro and Sandman. He captures them with this super cool new suit, which is just the suit inside out, which I thought was kind of funny. And then this brand new wristband thing that can zap them, bring them into the place. So next, we see Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, who showed up at the very end of the bridge fight scene. And we see his Norman Osborn, not the Green Goblin yet, but Norman Osborn shows up, and he's scared of his alter ego, breaks the mask, and just hides all this stuff, and runs to the feast place, which is where it's kind of like that community service area that like provides food for people less fortunate, like a food pantry, yeah, that Aunt May is at, and Aunt May and Norman meet, and Norman is just lost, he's dazed, all that, and Peter brings him to the lab, and he's all like, whoa, and then Doc Ock is like, "You're dead." So pretty much he died at I think it's Spider-Man 3, but yeah, he's pretty much dead, and I don't really know how he's alive, or I think they saved him right before he died, because all the villains are pretty much dead in their own ways. And also, in a little bit, when so now there's this big fight scene with Doctor Strange and Peter in the mirror dimension, and what pretty much happens is Peter traps Strange in the mirror dimension and has the box with the spell because he wants to save the villains and give them second chances, which I really like. I really like this nice turn for Peter, and he's caring about other people besides in his own future and self. And I like that about his character in this movie. It's really good. And then we get the line from Spider-Man 1, "I'm somewhat of a scientist myself." That's what Norman says, and I was cracking up in the theater. And then we get to the new Hogan residence, I guess, where Aunt May and Peter are staying. And he brings all the villains, except Lizard. Lizard is actually still in the truck that they got there with. But they make the cure for Doc Ock, and it works, and now he has control of the arm, so that's cool. But Doc Ock says to Norman, "No more second half." And that means that something bad is about to happen. And that's pretty much what does. Now, I get this really sick POV shot of Peter's spider tingle, and it's like really bassy. It just focused on him. Everything else is dark in the background. And it's like that tingle scene in Far From Home when he fights all the drones. But he flips out at Green Goblin's hand, and Green Goblin comes out, and he takes it all out on Peter. And he says that May is the key or something, kind of like Lois is the key in Batman v Superman. But then we get this super cool fight scene with Electro takes off his cure that savors all the power, and him and Sandman make a big sandstorm around the apartment building, and Dafoe goes off on Peter. He just blasts him through walls, blasts him through floors of the apartment. It's crazy. Peter gets so banged up in this movie, he almost dies. So he's down there. Aunt May has like this wrench or whatever, and she's there. She's like this, and Peter's like all banged up. And Dafoe, or Goblin, I keep saying Dafoe, it's fine. The hovercraft that he has comes through, slams May in the back. She goes flying. And then Dafoe, Green Goblin, he throws a pumpkin bomb there. Peter kind of saves the explosion a little bit. And then he runs away. Now, Doc Ock also runs away from Electro blasting him, but we'll get back to that later. But the thing is that May and Peter are like really banged up, bro. And what happens is May starts laying down, and she says the line. She says, "With great power, there also comes great responsibility." They said the line, guys. Do you get it? And then May dies. It's so sad. Like, honestly, it was like the saddest point in the movie. And yeah, this is just a very sad movie. And I honestly didn't know what to say. I didn't really see it coming, honestly. And it's very emotional, and it wrecks Peter for the next like half hour, 45. Now we see MJ and Ned at Ned's grandparents' house or grandma's house, and they have the box, and MJ's about to press it, and from the fight scene with Doctor Strange, Peter also takes the ring that you do the thingy with, and Ned now has that, and Ned goes like, "I wish we could see him," and the little spark pops up. Now he does it again. A portal opens up, and you see this fairly tall guy in the background. And he comes through. He's tall. He's not the Peter we know. It's Andrew Garfield! It's so cool to see Andrew in the movie. And he takes off the mask, and he's right there. And it's sick. And him being in it is just insane. And the theater goes crazy and all that. Now he's in the movie, and it's super cool, and he shows off the Peter tingle that he has, even though MJ's just throwing bread at him. It's really funny. But honestly, it's just crazy to see him. Ned does it again. A guy with a suit or ish pullover jacket comes in. It's Tobey Maguire. They got both of them for the movie, and it's super cool. And he has the suit under, and they do the same thing where they do a flip. They flip back each other just to see. And they're both Spider-Man. It's super cool. And I think they got roped in with the villains, which makes sense. But, yeah, it's awesome to see these two in the same movie. And we get this awesome shot of Peter in the rain, all banged up. And the cinematography in this shot is amazing. You gotta watch it. Watch the movie, guys. If you're watching this review and you haven't seen it, like, honestly, I don't know what you're doing, man. Thanks for supporting the channel. I don't always click like, subscribe, all that. But, honestly, just kind of watch the movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I'm just saying this now. It is the best MCU movie by far. Endgame is trash compared to this. And, that's a hot take. We get this really emotional scene next with all the Peters meeting up for the first time, and they said that their Uncle Ben's both died, and they said the Great Power Line, and then Aunt May died, and she said, so it all connects in a way. It's really sad because, especially for Andrew, because Gwen Stacy, he couldn't save her. It was really emotional and really sad, and he'll get redemption for that. We'll see it later. But I honestly think this is one of the best scenes in the movie, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, because it's very powerful, very emotional. It's really sad to see all their struggles connect. And then we get this super cool scene when they're all working on the cures at this lab. And then there's the three Peters joke where Ned's like, Peter, and they all say yes. It's like Peter Parker, they all say yes. And it's like Spider-Man, and they all say yes. It's hilarious. I was like, just say Tom, come on. But, yeah, so they make all the cures. They set it up at the Statue of Liberty, which is being worked on with a Captain America shield instead of a torch. Now, that's interesting. Very controversial today. But, they get there, and they have a few side conversations that's not super interesting, just a little bit funny. They talk about villains. Andrew gives Toby a back massage, so that's funny. And, I guess that's about it. There's not really a ton. And then all the villains pretty much show up, and Electro is more powerful with the Stark reactor that he stole. Sandman's with them. Lizard's just there. This movie really hates Lizard, just saying for all you Lizard fans, if there are any. Yeah, but this final battle scene is easily the best scene in the movie, and maybe even the last part is. And they fight, and they're going at them, and they all regroup because they all suck, and they all regroup before they take it out more, and Andrew's like, I love you guys, and they're like, okay. it's funny. And Peter's like, I was in the Avengers, and Toby's like, that's great. What is that? And I lost it in the theater. I was like, huh? You don't know what the Avengers is? Like, bro, come on. And he's like, and Andrew's like, is that a band? Are you in a band? And I'm like, that's awesome. So yeah, so they all work together. They get the cures in for everyone, like Max and Lizard and Sandman. And then Doc Ock shows up, and he's like, oh no, I'm going to be all villainy. But nope, he saves them, and he takes the Stark reactor out. And it's all super cool. And I love how Doc Ock's a good guy in the movie now. And then we get to the final boss, which is Green Goblin. Now, I really love the acting from Willem Dafoe. He should get nominated for an Oscar. But the acting is just spot on. I love it. So he's fighting, and we see him knock with the pumpkin bombs into the building structure. And MJ and Ned have the box, and they're out there. And MJ falls, and she's falling. And you see Peter jump and go for the touch. And then he gets slammed by Green Goblin. Yes, he does. He does not get her. But Andrew gets her. He goes down and saves her. Gets redemption from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's amazing. I love it so much. And I love how they written it, and it was so sad, and he was crying at the end. But overall, I just loved Andrew Garfield's character in this movie. He's just great. He doesn't have really a ton of more scenes, but dude, he's really, really good in this movie. Probably one of my favorite parts, I would say. So, Willem Dafoe / Green Goblin, whatever, goes to this, the crest symbol, the shield on the beach side. But Peter just goes off on him. My man takes out everything on him, knee, fist, all that, and knocks him. And he gets the ship that killed Aunt May, and he almost stabs him, and then Toby is right there to save him, who gives him, like, the dad stare, stops, gets stabbed. He gets stabbed. Toby gets stabbed. Which I was like, yeah, it's pretty predictable. I mean, yeah, you kind of saw that coming. Toby's fine in the end, just saying that. But, yeah. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin just gets this, like, really awful stare again. And then Andrew throws it, catches it, pucks it right in the neck, and the cure is in. And he says, "What have I done?" Which is the line from Spider-Man 1 or whatever. So that's actually pretty much it for the action stuff. It's pretty crazy, honestly, to see them all fight together, especially against the three from the second trailer. It was just 1v3, but now it's 3v3. Well, everyone kind of saw that. But then we get to see Doctor Strange in action because he's back from being trapped, and Peter says to make everyone forget that he was Spider-Man. Now, this is pretty hard stuff now, because if everyone doesn't know who he is, and the MCU pretty much just killed off who Peter Parker is. Now, they do that. Yeah, everyone forgets. And MJ and Peter make this promise where it's like, Peter needs to say, "I love you," and it's just really emotional and really sad to see all these characters go. Toby and Andrew have this last one. Toby, Andrew, and Tom all hug, so that's really nice. Honestly, I just had a blast with this final act, and it's really sad. And then we get to the final part where everyone forgets, and we get to see Tom at May's funeral, or the grave, and Happy's there. Happy doesn't even know who Peter is. And he brings up Iron Man for a second. And it's just really sad. And he gets this new apartment. It's just all banged up. He also visits MJ at the place she worked at. And Ned's there, and they just don't know him. And she's wearing the half-broken Black Dahlia necklace. And she has the Band-Aid from the scar that she got. So, I mean, honestly, in the fourth movie in the next trilogy, they could bring her back in. But I'm not entirely sure. They both make it at MIT. I know that. But this ending it shows him in a brand new classic suit, the classic teal, red, and blue. It's really cool, and he swings, and the movie ends. Now, there's two post-credit scenes. The first one is Venom at this bar talking about like Thanos, Hulk, all these. And you know how they teleport again, but at the very end you see a little blob of Venom, and it starts moving. Now, this could be key for the next movie. And also, Eddie says, "I want to meet this spider guy." So it's pretty interesting where Venom is. And does that mean Venom's in the MCU now? Like, honestly. But the second post-credit scene is the little Multiverse Madness teaser. Looks pretty cool. There's 2 Doctor Stranges now. And I think it's going through the What If episode. Also, with WandaVision mixed in, the whole Westview, all that. Well, also, the multiverse is pretty shattered by the looks of it. So I don't really know where the MCU is going, but yeah. No Way Home is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, and it's probably my favorite comic book movie besides Dark Knight. It's the best MCU movie by far, and honestly, that's all I got. I'm probably feeling a strong 11 out of 10. Strong best movie of the year. Strong best MCU movie. Strong Toby, Andrew, Tom.